But yeah, Disney is hiring a social media manager for Star Wars. Anyone want this job? You're welcome to apply.
Well, I know that Star Wars girl has already applied.
She has.
Yes, she has. But she said she used to work for Disney previously, so they already had all of her information. But she did apply just for spits and giggles.
Interesting. It'd be funny if she got an interview and she could come back and talk about the interview.
Oh, yeah. Well, she said she doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell of getting the position, but she figured, what the heck, she'll put in for it because she absolutely is qualified for the job, you know. Yeah. But I don't know if this is probably just a coincidence. I don't think this, anything more has to be read into it, other than this was announced the same week as Pablo Hidalgo going all Ryan Johnson on social media recently.
Oh boy. Yeah, I'm going to paste this. I don't think I'm going to have time to read from this article. This is an excellent article from Variety. It basically explains what was going on between Star Wars Theory and Pablo Hidalgo. Good job.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't. I tend to.
Do you want me to sum it up real quick for those that
go
might
ahead?
not?
Yeah, go
okay.
ahead.
So as you all know, especially if you heard the pre-show a couple weeks back, I was talking about the Mandalorian, the return of Luke Skywalker. Not necessarily saying that Star Wars is saved, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. And a lot of YouTubers have been putting out their cold takes on it, or hot takes, or however you put it, where they videoed themselves as they initially watched the last episode of The Mandalorian and showed their reaction to Luke Skywalker. And they were excited. They were emotional. Some people cried. And Star Wars Theory, who did an incredible fan film about Darth Vader, was one of those who,
right. I think I did see that.
Yeah. It cost him $10,000 of his own money that he was setting aside to buy a house. He just, as part of a passion project, decided to put that money into a fan film that he could never actually profit off of because of the nature of fan films. That's how big a fan he is. He's got over 1 million subscribers. Okay. So he garners a lot of fans, in the Star Wars community, follow him. Okay. So if you say anything against him, you're alienating 1 million YouTube followers, not something that Disney really wants to be doing. He puts out a video of himself where he's getting emotional about Star Wars, and a little bit of backstory on this guy. We all have our stories about how we became fans of Star Wars, with me going back to the 70s and the original release. Okay. Mm-hmm. His first experience with Return of the Jedi was when he was a 10-year-old kid going through chemotherapy, and he looked to Luke Skywalker and the Jedi and the Force to get him through this very, very difficult time for a 10-year-old. And when he would be getting sick and going through chemotherapy, and he had to meditate on what he was going through and try to calm down and try to keep some food down, he would think of himself as a Jedi and what Master Luke would tell him to do.
Right.
Again, this is a 10-year-old boy. Okay. But now he's grown up, and that has become part of who he is. He's not a 10-year-old boy anymore, but that emotion is still with him. Okay. I cannot fault somebody for getting a little teary-eyed when he sees that scene in The Mandalorian. But apparently Hidalgo can, because he tweets out, emotions are not for sharing publicly, or words to that effect. I don't remember exactly what he said. Don't give a crap what he actually said.
Emotions are not for sharing.
Emotions are not for sharing.
That's what he said.
So the interwebs just blew up because his 1 million fans get upset about it. Okay. And a lot of people that would otherwise not be what we would consider on our side of the fence in this. The SJWs, again, this is the third time tonight, people, that I'm agreeing with the SJWs. This tells you something.
A certain place is frozen over. Okay.
Exactly. But that's how ridiculous this has gotten. Okay, because there's people coming out saying, for crying out loud, okay, we have just spent years talking about toxic masculinity and how unfair it is to men that they're not allowed to express their emotions. We have a man expressing his emotions, and you're going to shit all over him. So, yeah, this was beyond the pale. So he puts out a, in quotes, apology, where he goes, well, I'm sorry if you were offended, but it was really meant to be more about me and self-deprecating and da-da-da-da.
People were calling him out on that. They were,
yeah, that was a
this Friday article goes all through it. It's really worth checking out. They were saying that, hold on, let me see if I can read it to you. Hildago did not address placing the offended tweet as a banner over his account, but a source close to him says he did so briefly, not out of malice, but after people began asking his private followers for screenshots of the deleted tweet. Okay. Yeah. The damage, meanwhile, had been done by the time Hildago apologized. Two's YouTube reaction video about Hildago's tweet, in which Two's discusses how much Luke Skywalker had helped him when he battled cancer, had already amassed 500,000 views and was trending on Twitter.
Yep.
Okay.
And you know, it's like, and finally, you know, after all the BS that we went through with Captain Manhater and all the other, the Ryan Johnsons and all the other BS that we've gotten from these assholes over there at Disney, Disney corporate is finally saying, okay, enough is enough. And they step in, and that apology would not be there except for Disney coming and saying, you need to do this. You need to try and fix this. Because and I know I can speak to this, because in an interview that Star Wars Theory did with Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers and Drunk 3PO, he said, yeah, I got a phone call, both a personal phone call directly from Pablo Hidalgo and a representative of Lucasfilm, both of them wanting to apologize to me personally. He said, and I refused. I wouldn't take their call. And I don't blame him. He's like, you do this to me publicly, you apologize to me publicly. Well, of course, Disney is not going to, a representative of Disney is not going to apologize to anyone publicly, but they're the ones behind making Pablo Hidalgo apologize.
Oh yeah, definitely. I like Back to Drive. What they don't understand is that people like Hidalgo hate fans. Okay, yeah, the SJW fans. Yeah, people like Hidalgo do hate fans. They don't hate whatever the buzzword of the day is. They just have contempt for people who aren't in Hollywood. I'm thinking a lot of this is coming to light now.
Here's the ridiculous. This is where this has gone beyond the pale. When it was Ryan Johnson doing this, he was hating on the people that hated what he did. Okay, so fine. You want to retaliate against people that don't like what you've done. Fine. This is somebody who's actually expressing love and appreciation for something that Disney Lucasfilm did. Someone gives you a positive review and you tell them to F off.
Yeah. You sound angry, Troy.
This kind of stuff really does get me angry. And this is why I'm saying this is the kind of stuff that's bringing the fandom together. Whether you like Ryan Johnson, or you like Kathleen Kennedy, or you like the Mandalorian and John Favreau, or you hate all of it, but you're a Star Wars fan. Everyone is coming together on this.
One thing I thought was interesting about this article is that, and I have noticed this too, even by some left-leaning people I know, I think there's becoming a growing acknowledgement that the sequel trilogy wasn't that good. I think it's taken a while for it to hit. I mean, of course, we've understood this for a while, but now I think even Variety is admitting that these aren't well received. These aren't well received. Okay. Yeah. And now people are liking The Mandalorian. And I know there's some people that, never trust Disney again. That's fine. And then there are other people that think, well, we can give this a shot. And from what I've heard, it's been well received by the people who've watched it. So, and my point is that, but for this to happen now, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know how people like this keep their jobs.
Well, here's the problem. Here's who Pablo Hidalgo is. Okay. Yeah. So you were just talking about the sequel trilogy, and you were talking about, how people don't like it. He was the guy who was in charge of continuity, in quotes, continuity for So when somebody was like, is this how the Force works? Is this, what such and such character would do? How was this handled in the EU? Blah, 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 blah. He was the go-to guy. He knew his stuff. Okay. But he's an arrogant okay, in his knowledge. Okay. And he also sets himself up as, I'm the one who's going to decide what it is going forward. Well, that's just great. So this is the same guy who signed off on the Holdo maneuver that basically breaks canon for how hyperspace and lightspeed works in Star Wars, and any problems that you have with how the Force works and, Rey being the bestest ever and all this kind of stuff. Well, he's the one who's pretty much allowed for that to happen, So after this, when his, little tirade went out there, he puts out his apology. That's a non-apology. I went and I tweeted back to him. I said, good for you, Pablo. Congratulations. You stick by this. And I look forward to your work on the upcoming Ryan Johnson trilogy. Because that's really, his career is pretty much over.